just because we get around. Talking about my generation. Things they do look awful. Talking about my generation. I hope I die before I get old. Talking about my generation. This is my generation, baby. Why don't you all fade away? Don't try to dig what we all say.
Lestari.
Hi, I'm Anggi Apsari.
Hi, I'm Agustin.
Hi, I'm Putri Agustin.
Halo, my name is Genta Tirani.
Hi, I'm Devi. Now I'm going to explain about form and diction in bond and free poetry by Robert Frost. In analyze the form, we need to see how many stanza and how many lines does the poetry has. However, in analyzing the diction, we need to see the poetic diction and unique diction. As you can see here, this form of this poetry consists of 4 stanza with 5 lines of its stanza, or we can call it as quintet. Now, continue the diction of the poetry. There are 2 types of diction. The first one is poetic diction, and the other one is unique diction. So, let's see the first stanza. Love has earth to with siblings, with hills and circling arms about. In this part, basically, the writer used the figurative language of personification, which non-human things described as a human. Love is described as a feminine one that always clings to someone. This is included as a poetic diction. The hyperlink in the second lines also leave a free interpretation to the reader. So this is become a proof of unique diction. So we continue to the next slide. Wall within wall to shoot her out. In this part, basically, the writer used the imagery of hearing, when wall described as something that can block the fear. And then we continue to the next slide. But thought has need of no such thing, but thought has a pair of downward wing. In this part, basically, the writer used the imagery of sight. We can imagine if thought has a wings. Also, if you notice it, thought in the third line and also in the fourth line has a capitalization, although they are not in front of the sentence. This is included as unique diction. Now, move to the second stanza. On snow and sand and truth, I see. This part, the writer used the imagery of sight, when the writer describes something that he can see. In this case, it was snow, sand, and truth. This is proof of the use of poetic diction. And then to the next line, where love has printed trace, with straining in the word embrace, with thoughts of love and glad to be, but thou has shaken its ankle free. In this part, basically, the writer used personification, which love describes as a human that can leave a printed trace, and also thou described as a male. This is a proof of poetic diction. Also, there are also capitalization for love and thou inside the sentence. This is a proof of the use of unique diction. So, to the third stanza of this poetry, Paul clips the intertone gum and sit in serious digs all night, till day makes him retrace his flight. Basically, in this part, the writer also used personification where he can describe thought can travel far to find the freedom. The diction that used here is poetic diction. So move to another line. With smell of burning on every foot, we pass the sun to early room. Basically, in this part, the writer used the imagery of smelling that describes if we can smell the burning passion that thou has. This is included as a poetic diction. And then we're gonna move to the last stanza of this poetry. As you can see here, his gain in heaven are what they are, yet some say love by being trade, and simply staying process of. A separate beauty that thought face forth to find fuse in another star. In this last stanza, the writer used personification to describe the difference between the concept of love and thought. Once more, they also describe if love just only stay possessive and thou have to travel far to find the freedom. In this part, love and thou also in the capitalization that make the poetry look unique. So I can conclude if this stanza use poetic and unique diction. So as a conclusion, in this poetry, the diction that used is poetic diction and unique diction. For further information about the meaning and the stanza break, we move to another section.
Hi guys, now I will tell you about the meaning in this poetry, Born and Free by Robert Frost. And for the meaning in this poetry is divided into each stanza break. And for the first stanza break, the poet imagines love as something that clings with hills and circling arms, and there are walls that protect love from fear. The love is represented as sea, which is feminine. Love on this stanza is assumed as something earthly or something true, or you can say love is not free because there are walls around her. Love is an earth and is safe from fear, which is shown in wall within wall to shoot fear out, which means love can protect you from fear. Next, we are moving on to the second stanza. The meaning is, in the other hand, thought is something contradictory with love. Thought is represented as something that doesn't need things like what love does us, which is written in the first stanza break as earth, hills, and walls. Thought is the opponent of love itself. Unlike the love, thought is not earthing, as what is told before. Thought need nothing but only dauntless wing to fly leaving the earth. On this phrase, we can see thought is not the place where the love is. Next, for the third stanza break, on snow and sand and turf I see, shows that love is still bound in the earth, and it leaves a mark to people who experiences love. It could be pain, heartbreak, and etc. Where love has left a print trace with straining in the word's embrace, the speaker used verbal irony to show the mark of love itself. Next, for the fourth stanza break, in the stanza break, the speaker wants to say that love is being love, which is leaving marks to the experiencers, and it's used to be. But Toad is not doing that. Toad as free as the poet said in, but Toad has ankles, his ankles free. Next, for the fifth stanza break, The meaning is talk is not what as love is presented to be. We know that the speaker relates love to something earthly, but not to the talk. The writer saw talk as something the speech which is far away from earth or love, and with those dauntless wings, it could reach the sky and even break the darkness and stay in the biggest star in the space, which means that with talk we can reach the unreachable and leave earth forward. And next, for the sixth stanza break, the word his, representing talk itself, which what the talk has achieved is what he truly is. Talk achievement is real because heaven is where talk will guide you to. And for the seventh stanza break, the meaning is love is represented as something trolls mean you bow to love. You could do something free, but love is absolutely and extremely you push you to possess everything. It means that love is denying freedom and only make us lose power. Yet some say, by living the troll and simply saying possesses all, it shows how love is selfish to possess everything that people want. And next, for the last stanza break, in the other hand, talk is something not represented by love. Talk is free to travel anywhere that people want to. It will bring to somewhere you never been like where it stayed in to find post in another star. For the conclusion is, in this poetry is showing the difference between love and talk. Love is bound and talk is free. The love cannot bring you to anywhere because it's something shallow and denying imagination. Love controls people to possess everything but not talk. Talk is free with this dauntless wing. It can bring you traveling anywhere with a wild imagination. Thank you.
Hi, now I'm going to talk about rhyme scheme. So in the first stanza, in the last word is clings, which is the rhyme scheme of this word is A, and the articulatory phonetic that is produced by this word is monophthong, which is the type of sound is E long vowel. The last word of the second line is about, which the rhyme scheme is B because it has different type of sound and also type of rhyme scheme and articulatory phonetic, which are O and diphthong. So the last word of the third line is out. This word has the same rhyme scheme, which is B, and the articulatory of the phonetic that is produced by this word is out, and the type of sound is O. Next, then the last word of the fourth line is things. The rhyme scheme for this word is basically the same as the previous line, which is A, and the type of the sound is E long vowel, and the articulatory phonetic is monophthong. So for the fourth line, the last word is wings. The rhyme scheme of this word also the same as the previous line, which is A, and the articulatory phonetic is monophthong, and the type of sound is E, long vowel. So we continue to the second stanza. So as the last word of this next line, the scheme rhyme for the word C is C, and the articulatory phonetic is monophthong, and the type of word is E long vowel. And the last word of the seventh line is trace, which the rhyme scheme is D because it has different type of rhyme scheme and also type of sound, which is A, and the articulatory phonetic is diphthong. And furthermore, the word of the eighth line rhyme scheme is D, which is embrace. Is the same as previous line because they have the same articulatory phonetic and also type of sound, which are A and diphthong. So the next, from the last word of main line, which is B, it has rhyme scheme C, and the articulatory phonetic is monophthong, and the type of sound is E long vowel. The last word from the last line of the second stanza is free. It is actually the same as the previous line because it has the same rhyme scheme and also articulatory phonetic, and the type of sound, which are C, monophthong, and E long vowel. So we're moving on to the third stanza. So the next last word comes from room. This time has rhyme scheme E. The articulatory phonetic is monophthong, and the type of sound is U long vowel. The next word is night. The type of sound that is produced is I. The rhyme scheme is F, and the articulatory phonetic is diphthong. And moving on to the next line, which is the last word, is fight. The word has the same sound, same type of sound that is produced with the previous word, which means has the same rhyme scheme and also articulatory phonetic. And the next last word is plume, and the type of sound is U long vowel. The articulatory phonetic is monophthong, and the rhyme scheme is E. And the last one, it comes from the word room. The type of sound that is produced by this word is U long vowel, and the rhyme scheme is E, with the articulatory phonetic monophthong. And we continue to the last stanza. In the last word of this line, the scheme rhyme for word R is G. The articulatory phonetic is monophthong, and the type of the word is A long vowel. The next last word that is shown is throw. The type of sound that is produced by this word is different from the previous line, which is A long vowel, and the rhyme scheme is edge. The articulatory phonetic is monophthong. And the last word of the next line has rhyme scheme edge, which is O. It is the same as the previous line because they have the same articulatory phonetic and also the type of sound, which are O, long vowel, and diphthong. So the next is from last word, which is far. Has rhyme scheme G, and the articulatory of the word is monophthong, and the type of sound is A long vowel. And then the last word of the last stanza in the last line is star. Rhyme scheme for this word is G, and the type of sound is A long vowel with articulatory phonetic monophthong.
Now let us see the sound devices element of this poetry. For the first section is assonance. As you can see here, the red color words is containing the assonance. And then let us see the analysis of these consonant words. In the stanza 1 line 1, there are 3 words that containing the same sound of vowel, which is the sound E in the words which she clings. This sound belongs to a closed vowel. And then in the stanza 1 line 2, there is word with hills and circling, so this word is containing the same vowel E as well. And then in the line 3 stanza 1, there are 2 words that exactly the same, which are wall and wall. So this word containing the same vowel O. And then moving on to the stanza 2 line 2, there are 3 words that containing the same vowel in the line 2. They are where, has, and left. So in these words, there is the same vowel used here, which is the sound A, and it belongs to mid vowel. And then moving on to the stanza 3, in the line 2, there are 4 words that containing the same vowel E. They are words sits, in, serious, and disc. So those words containing the same vowel E, which is the closed vowel. And then in the line 3 stanza 3, there are 3 words that containing the same vowel as well. They are till, him, and his. So the word I in each word is pronounced as E. And then in the line 4 stanza 3, with smell of burning on every floor, this word is containing the same vowel E. And then in the stanza 4, there are 2 words in line 3 that containing the same sound E in the words simply and staying. Now we are moving on to the consonant. Let us see the each stanza that containing the consonant in this poetry. The first one in the stanza 1, line 3, there are 3 words that began with the same vowel W, which is pronounced as w in the words wall within wall. So this sound belong to bilabial sound, which is the sound that produced by both lips. And then moving on to the stanza 2, in the line 1 there are 3 words that began with the same vowel S, which is pronounced as s in the words snow, sand and sea. So the S in the word snow is pronounced stronger than the S in the words sand and sea, and it belongs to alveolar sound, which is the sound that produced by enfolding tip of the tongue in the alveolar ridge. And then in the line 2, stanza 2, there are 2 words that began with the same vowel L, which is pronounced as L in the word love and left. So this word belongs to alveolar sound. And then moving on to the stanza 3, line 2, there are 3 words that began with the same vowel S in the words sit, serious and this. Those words is dominated by the sound S. And then moving on to the stanza 4, in the line 2, there are 2 words that began with the same S, which is pronounced as S in the words some and say. And it belongs to alveolar sound. And then in the line 2, stanza 4, there are 3 words that dominated with the same vowel S, which is pronounced as S in the word simply, staying and possesses. So it belongs to alveolar sound. The S in the word staying is pronounced stronger rather than in the words simply and possesses. Then moving on to the line 4, stanza 4, there are 2 words that began with the same vowel F, which is pronounced as F in the words fairs and far. And then it belongs to labiodental sound, which is the sound that produced by enfolding lower tip and the upper tip. And then in the last line of the last stanza, in the line find fuse in another star, there are 2 words that began with the same vowel F, and it belongs to labiodental, the same as the previous one, the sound that produced by enfolding lower tip and the upper tip. That's all about assonant and consonants. Thank you.
Moving on to the theme. Robert Frost expressed the difference between love and thought. At first, he's firmly in favor of thought. Thought is described as something free. Thought simply research the freedom in anywhere and every place. Love, however, described as something troll. You could just relate to love someone or something, but love absolutely pulls everything. The narrator seems like assure the reader that love is denying the freedom. This is the contrary with love. So, this poetry has freedom as theme by describing the concept of love and the concept of thought. The writer tried to explain about the beauty of freedom and the way to get freedom through love and thought, and every human has.
Hill there's a plastic tree.